management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
Mother Georgia, she's back on live, the historic 980 WDDO. All of a sudden, listening live into the studio with our host in this.
And hello.
Hey, today is Monday, May 11th in the year of our Lord 2026. How was your weekend?
Well, let's see. It was raining. And, I'm still cast.
Bless your heart.
Like, okay. So, the weatherman said it was going to rain and rain hard. And so it rained hard. I was in a lot of pain. But you know what? I'm just glad to be alive. My big mama used to say, if you're alive when you have pain. So there we go.
There you go. And the saying that a lot of old people you say it's better to be seen than viewed.
Oh, it took a minute for me to get it.
It's better to be seen than viewed.
You ain't lying about that, Emily. I want to apologize to you on air that I didn't make it to your anniversary.
Well, I appreciate that.
I was at the house. Denver graduates this week. She's going to the 6th grade. That may not be a big thing to a lot of people, but I can tell you, she's like so many other children that are in Bibb County that have had the kind of experience that no child should have. I'm not going to talk about it on air, but I'm simply going to say that there's hundreds of Denvers that are out here in our communities. And so it took us to work with her. And so she's got AB honor roll. Can you believe it?
Yeah, Denver's so smart though.
Yeah. By the way, and I took her to Dillard. So I told her.
Oh my Lord, not Dillard's.
I took her to Dillard's and got her graduation dress and her graduation shoes and
nice.
Got her a little these people in that Catholic school strict. They really in a way, and it's a good thing, but it's a shame that no, it's not, because when we went to school, they used to tell us if you could not wear spaghetti straps. You had to put like a
shawl on or a little
a little jacket or whatever. So they were real clear. They were like, she had to have something that was so many inches, either above the knee or below the knee. So we didn't have either, because she's got these long, beautiful legs, and so we had to adjust. And she wanted little thin straps. I was like, okay, well, you got to get a sweater.
Right. Yeah.
So they're pretty strict.
Yeah. I mean, and rightfully so. They still want little girls to look like little girls, and young men to be dressed nice and appropriate. But my 20th year anniversary of my store was this past weekend. And, we did well. We had, a good flow of people in and out all day. But, I have to say this, it really, I had to think about it all weekend, and, doing my own self-work, I like to call it, and my own therapy, my own little private therapy session, and figure out why I was feeling a certain way. And so I've been in business 20 years. Wow. And anybody that knows anything about owning an actual business, not hustling, but actually owning a business, knows how difficult it is to be self-employed and own a business for 20 years. And I'm not talking about like on the side. I've had an actual brick and mortar storefront for 20 years. Wow. I kept it open during the housing market crash, the stock market crash, like all of that. I managed to stay open during that whole time. And I put it out on social media for 3 months. I advertised that, hey, 20-year anniversary. And the people that I thought were going to show up actually didn't show up. And I said, like, if nothing else, like, you had a lot going on. I already knew you had a lot going on. So it's certain people I knew probably wouldn't come because they had so much going on. But there were other people that I wasn't sad, but I had this feeling and I didn't understand what the feeling was. And I tried to think about it over the weekend to figure out, like, what is this feeling? Why do I feel this way? And I just don't understand. But it wasn't the first time, but it gave me clarity. Like, Black people really do not support Black owned businesses. They really don't. And I'm like, y'all will go, if Walmart had a 100-year anniversary, the line would be wrapped out of the door. Dillard's has a 75-year anniversary, line wrapped out of the door. The case in point, I'm on the same side of the street as Ingleside. The Society Garden, right?
Mm-hmm.
Society Garden had a mimosa festival. The line was wrapped all the way around, and it was, and I'm not exaggerating, hundreds of women that I knew were in the line. You think any of them said, congratulations for 20 years, girl, we coming down there? And I'm like, this is where we are as a people. And I have nothing against Society Garden. Obviously, we perform there all the time. But again, we're talking about a Black-owned business that has managed to stay in business for over 20 years. And you have a business that's owned by a white guy that's only been open for, I don't know, 8-9 years or so. And the line was wrapped around the corner because it was liquor.
And that is, for me, I mean, there are certain things I don't understand that we as Black people do, and then we do it to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and by the way, I don't know why we do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, I felt so bad, but I wanted my stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, you know what I'm saying. I will say this about Brenda. Brenda did cash at me that money.
I tell
because she wanted her body butters for her feet, and you know, for her and Henry, and so she did. So Brenda does support. So just you guys, you know,
I'm just saying I support her, but not because it's Emily. It's because it is a much needed product for me. And you know, and Henry loves it, and you know, Denver loves it, and you know, Michelle like it, you know, and so, you know, I tell you what, when we went by Bath and Body,
Bath and Body Works,
because we went to get her graduation dress and stuff like that. I'm like, I didn't go over there, but I'm like, I ain't got no business to go over there, because whatever I need, if Emily don't have it, she'll make it.
That's true.
Now, I don't know if y'all know that, and I probably shouldn't put this on air, you know, like that, but she know I like the kind of like the creamy, whatever that stuff.
Shower gel.
I like shower gel. I use soap. I don't like soap. I like shower gel. She'll make me some. But I do think that's a conversation about Black folk, and we can just take it on into today's topic. What is it about us that make us not care about us until the white man do something to us? Now, and that's real right there, Emily.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Right. So the tickets, I think, to get into the Mimosa Festival were $20, I believe. Right. For bottomless mimosas, if you will. But you take into consideration, most people, you're going to drink maybe 4 or 5 mimosas, because they weren't like the champagne, like they were, you know, pretty large black cups. Right. And so I said to myself, now one body butter is $20, and that body butter is going to last you about 3 months, or a little bit more than 3 to 4 months. Right. Versus some alcohol that you're going to drink in less than 20 or 30 minutes. You're going to have your fill of it. And that $20 was literally just wasted down the drain. And they didn't have any issue with purchasing the ticket to go. But you have an issue with giving me that same $20 for something that's going to last you 4 months. And I don't understand. Just make it make sense.
And let me just say this. And they didn't put Prosecco, the good Prosecco, in it. They got the cheapest. Yeah. And by the way, if just in case y'all didn't know it out there, just understand what I'm getting ready to say. You know, these distributors give people free liquor. When they buy like a certain amount of liquor, they give it to them. And the one they give them is just horrible, just really, really bad. So if they're giving away mimosas like that, you can rest assured it was with some really trash. But I'm bringing this up about Black folk because we have got to do better. Now, we just got to do better, Emily. And, you know, I heard a preacher talk about integration. And he was saying that what did actually integration do for Black folk? Well, for one, we have to struggle now to have business, because there was a time back in the day, you know, when you didn't have a choice of where to go, you had to use Black businesses.
Mm-hmm.
But when you got a choice, the first thing you went to was what you thought was cold or ice.
Mm-hmm.
If you follow what I'm saying, it'd be different if you didn't have a good product. And I'm just saying, there's a lot of good Black businesses out here. It'd be different if you didn't have a good product. It would be different if you were not dependable and consistent and all of those things. Your store is open on time. I know it opens on time.
Mm-hmm.
I know it closed at a certain time. I know all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But what's the problem? What keep people from going there? Is it the fact that they don't want to support the business?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it the fact that they just don't want to see you have nothing?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what bothers me.
Mm-hmm.
So I put it like this. I'm tired of it too.
Yeah, and I was grateful, like overly grateful for the people that did show up and support. And I had my brother, he came out and he DJ'd for us, and from Atlanta, and he DJ'd, and we put the tent right outside the store, and we had a fantastic time. And it even actually pulled people in because he was, playing the music. It pulled people in off of the street that literally came in and said, "Hey, we just heard the music. We wanted to come in and see what was going on." So those are like the positives that I took away, instead of kind of focusing on the part where I thought that these certain individuals or certain people would actually show up to support. It made me feel good. It's like, at least those are new potential customers, because everyone that actually came in off of the street, they purchased.
Wow.
So
they'll like that.
Yeah.
Our call-in number is 478-250-1444. Again, the number is 478-250-1444. And what we're talking about is what's wrong with us Black folk. That the only way, and I hate to say it, that we can go out and support and do things is that if we have liquor. Now, if we and you know what, and we were talking, I was like, you know what, that's probably true.
It is.
If you want to get a group of Black folk together, I mean, and know that they're going to purchase something, have some liquor.
Have some liquor. I called it the Booty Brigade, because that's all you saw from 11 o'clock to about 7 o'clock is booty, 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 booty rocking everywhere.
Booty, booty.
Booty, booty. The Booty Brigade was out. And I mean, and that's all, and they were all going down there. And I'm an entrepreneur. I love all, especially small businesses. Obviously I have a place in my heart. So it wasn't anything against the Society Garden. Like I said, it was just the overwhelming amount of response when it came to liquor. And his, he only started promoting the Mimosa Festival maybe about a month ago. I promoted for 3 months.
But then we have a group of Black folk and they get mad about perpetuating stereotypes. Now, this is one way we perpetuate, and I said it right here, we perpetuate our own stereotype.
That's right.
Now,
because it was booty shorts, booty, and liquor and weave and all of that stuff. It's just the facts. It's not even, because I'm pro-militant. I love my people. But that's what it was. And I just was kind of shaking my head. I was indifferent. I put it like that. I put indifferent.
Like this. I look at us and I'm disgusted with some of the things that we do to ourselves. And so, and I get teased about being, part white and all of that stuff like that. And white folk do some of this stuff too. So it's not just, just not Black folk, but it's just a lot of us. But I think probably for me, Emily, the hurtful part is I expect more from people who look like me, to support me, because I may expect somebody of a different race not to support me, because I'm like, okay, well, they may not really like Black people or something like that. But when it comes to my own people, I would hope that they would do me right. And a lot of times they don't.
They don't. And And I agree with you 100%. But you know what this weekend had taught me was not to go into things with zero expectation, and to stop expecting you out of other people.
Oh, wow.
and that was one of my biggest takeaways. Is I'm thinking, if one of my good friends told me, hey, this is my 20th year anniversary, and a lot of those people that have been friends with me for umpteen years, they knew how hard I struggled to keep my business open. And I said, I can't even be mad at them. It was my fault, because I had a specific expectation, and I'm normally a person that doesn't move with expectations from other people. And I expected them to do what I would have done. And once again, I allowed myself to get disappointed.
Well, I think too that being in business for 20 years is something to say. I looked at my daddy's barbershop. I don't know if you've been on Facebook and you saw Sutton Beauty and Barbershop. It's a picture up there of my daddy's shop on Poplar Street.
Oh, no.
And my dad was in business for 27 years. And that's
amazing.
Like and every day, the only day he had off was he had Sundays off, but he would take a half day on Wednesdays. And I can remember him bringing home us a bag of crystals, because a crystal used to be like a nickel or a dime or something. And we thought we was high cotton when we got some crystal.
Is it Sutton Beauty Salon?
That's it. Sutton Beauty and Barbershop.
Beauty.
It's on my thing on Poplar Street. And that was my daddy.
See if I can find it.
And he is, I remember how hard he worked. And my crazy self, and it ain't funny, but it is funny too, that I didn't even know what here you go. I didn't even know what a paycheck was, because I when I grew up, I just knew money. And that's the difference between like an entrepreneur and someone who's like me, who go in to work and get like a check, is that that's my daddy's honey. Look at that car right there, y'all. I had to send.
There's more pictures.
Okay, and then the other picture is a picture of my daddy, on there. But I do understand that maybe, and you want to know something, Emily, perhaps this is part of what has happened within the Black community too, because Black people were entrepreneurs. A lot of them were entrepreneurs. That's the only way they made it. And they were accustomed to working for themselves. So maybe that's part of the problem now, that we have gotten kind of like lazy in that respect, that we're accustomed to working for other people or doing things, and we're not as ambitious as we are for making our own money. Maybe that's because it's kind of hard. Like, I can appreciate a person who have a business. There are some of us out there, some of us women, especially if they're not bringing home like a paper check on Fridays or something, we don't really even respect them as having having a business. We don't respect a hustle. So maybe that's part of it too. But as Black folk,
I've definitely ran into that. Women, not just women, but our community in general, it's almost like they don't respect what I do as much as they would respect somebody that actually brings home a physical paper check. I've definitely ran into that. And I've had to tell customers multiple times, like, you realize this is what I do for a living. I don't clock into anybody's job. Like, every time a customer cancels an appointment, that's money I've lost that I can't recoup. Every time somebody shows up late and then runs another customer late, and they end up having to leave because they can't stay and wait for that. Like, they don't consider that's how I eat. That's how I pay my car note. That's how I pay, the mortgage, the rent, the et cetera, et cetera. This is not a joke. This is literally my livelihood. And so, I don't think that we as a community really respect it as much as we should. And that's for any Black-owned business owner out there.
And I understand that there are a lot of things that we do to help. A lot of Black businesses, will help other people and things like that. And I got that. And but I just know that for us, if we don't get a hold to I don't know. I don't even know what to say. We were just talking earlier about what's happening with the 14th Amendment. And I was just saying to you, my generation, I won't say I was born in 57, so it was 1963 when the voting, when they had like the Voting Act and separate, they changed all that stuff around. I'm like, I don't think people really realize, and it wasn't, you was talking about it too, that your mama was born in segregation, and so was I. We were not free. And we're progressing back to a time to where, and what I'm alluding to is that is a good thing you got business so we can go buy some soap. Let me just say it like let me just say it like that. Because if things shut down tomorrow, where we had no, then we would have to go to Emily to go get the soap.
Right, exactly.
And I think that we need to make sure our listeners that we support our Black businesses. May it be like the corner store or something like that, or whatever that is, so that we can continue to have some people that are working on their own. Same thing with a doctor or whatever like that. I can't tell you how many people I know will not go, and they have insurance and they won't go to a Black doctor. Now you tell me what's wrong with that. I don't get that, Emily, not one bit.
Because that's definitely how I am. I will definitely seek out a person that looks like me. Anytime I go to a doctor, my primary care looks like me. My OB, like every they look just like me. And again, I don't like to pull the racist card or anything.
I'm not trying to.
By no means. I just like to support my own people. And that doesn't mean that the white doctors are any, less skilled than the Blacks. I just like to support, my own, and there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. When I went down to, when I broke my arms, my wrist, I went down to Peach County. There's a bad doctor down there. And I can't think, what was her name?
I can't think her name, that Black chick.
She was off the chain good.
I can't think of her name. I see her face just as clear
as
day.
I do too. And they says, oh, you're gonna like her. She came in with that long needle and stuck that needle in my arm and was twisted. Well, I don't think I can twist it back, but she was just really awesome. And I know how hard she had to work in order to get her, to get her degree. It wasn't given to her. It was through hard work and struggle. So, that we, so I just think that this is the time now. I'm going to tell you something, Emily. I'm scared.
Scared for, tell me.
I'm truly scared because I remember what it was like growing up in segregation. And, maybe I did too much to protect my children. I really don't know. Because for some reason, I don't remember the North having to deal with as much foolishness as we did. Ours was more outward. You could like physically see it. Up north, it was real quiet. It was like, it was slick. It was pretended like they were there with you, but they really wasn't. You didn't know what your quote unquote enemy looked like. Here in the South, folk either liked you or they didn't, and they would let you know it. I watched on y'all know me and TikTok. I watched TikTok, and this white gentleman walked up to a Black sister and said all kinds of nasty things to her, put his finger all in her face, and she just stood there and dealt with it. And finally it was in Memphis. So finally they arrested him. But I'm like, see, I'm scared because I ain't right. I'm telling you, I'm putting it out here. I'm not right. I'm not the kind of person that you're gonna be able to walk up on and say all kind of things, punch your finger all in my face, and I just turn around. I'm not her. And that is there's a lot of bold people that are doing things to folk, saying things. It was a little boy I saw on the internet. Had gone in for the school board because the children at the school were calling him monkey and coming up to him and making little monkey sounds and just doing things like that to him. So he had to he went to the board and told on him. Well, or the teacher that walked all around the other students when she got to the little black girl. She hugged all the other kids, but she didn't hug this little black girl. The little black girl come home crying, "Mama, what did I do?"
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. See, and a lot of this behavior has been perpetuated. And I'm not saying that it's all white people, because it's not. I hate to say group talk, because we have some really good people and we got some really bad people on both sides. I got that, you know. But this business of what's occurring now with redrawing these lines and drawing us out. I mean, I don't even understand why you drawing the line. You got the majority of the people in the Senate and in the House. What? Why you need to draw some more lines, Emily? I think you highly represented.
Well, because they're scared. They want to do the redistricting and redraw these lines because they're scared. They know that that T-Rump is definitely gonna have a very, 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 very difficult time with these midterms, because the wool is no longer pulled over people's eyes. People are actually seeing things for what they really are, and they're realizing that their elected officials aren't representing them in a way that that they expected.
Well, when I went and got gas, and here it go. I don't know how you cannot know that something is going on. My gas, I think it costs about $80 to fill my tank up. And I do believe, and I want to say, y'all call in and correct me because I may be wrong, but on May 16th, Georgia is going to because they rolled back the tax on gas. Okay. They rolled it back just to give us a break. Well, on May 16th, it's supposed to change. And so if I'm not mistaken, it'll go up about 30 cents a gallon. Is it 30 cents a gallon or yeah? So, while I'm up here crying about that $70, $80, it's going to be 90. Well, a lot of people, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to me. And I already know what it's going to do to the grocery stores. And while I'm on the grocery store, and I know this is just not off subject, because I just want y'all to understand, they've got barcodes. Have you seen that? I don't know. In our college, they've got barcodes in the in Walmart on the price tags. Take a look at them so that they can electronically adjust the prices. Okay. So they don't have to have people. Yes, ma'am. So they don't have to have. Well, you know how when you go pick up something and they'll have a price on it, whatever like that. But it's electronic. They've got these little electronic tabs on it now so that they can physically go in, whatever, and go in and just change it. So it, rather than having to have somebody go out there with a sticker and change it or whatever, they can just change it with a code. I don't know if it's a code or a chip or something like that, but somebody brought it out that Walmart was doing that. Also, Walmart is getting ready to get rid of, and I knew this was coming. They're getting ready to get rid of their self-checkout lanes because they said people are stealing. But I'm saying
that's common sense.
They're dumb. They were dumb in the first place, Emily.
Yeah,
that was dumb.
Well, they wanted to try the AI technology. They wanted to see, how if they could get away with it. Basically, it was greed. Let's see if we can get away. We want to cut jobs. We want to make our profit margin higher. If we can cut jobs, that means we're cutting benefits, we're cutting retirement, we're cutting 401k, et cetera, et cetera. And let's just replace that whole human with a machine and allow people to do it themselves. Well, guess what? People aren't as honest as you think they are. And people do steal, especially when a gallon of milk is $4. A carton of eggs is $3. A box of cereal is $5. People don't have it.
And they don't have it.
They're going to steal.
They're going to steal. And that's the thing. You talk about your vote don't count. Oh, hey, I ain't going out there to vote. See, you know it, Emily. I ain't gonna do nothing. But okay, you didn't vote. And so now look what you got. Emily, I'm mad about those prices at the grocery store. I'm telling you, you get one little bag of groceries.
Oh, yeah.
One little bag of groceries. Don't mess around and buy
$40, yeah.
Don't mess around and buy you some ground meat.
Yeah, I remember I told you last week I bought a ground turkey. The pound of ground turkey used to be $2.37. That same pound of ground turkey is $4.98, so $5.
And
it used to be $2.37.
And by the way, and then Miss Morton, please vote for Amy Morton. Told you what bad shape the school is in. The school system, and we ain't got no money. People just don't have the money, Emily.
Alicia Brooks said, we are moving in areas that we should not living in. I think she says we're moving into areas that we should not be living in. Tell us what you mean by that, Alicia. You can call in 478-250-1444 or just type in the comments and tell us what you mean by that. She said we're moving into areas that we should not be living in when they were talking about redistricting a few minutes ago.
Okay, we're moving. And by the way, I was just looking at, and hey, Alicia Brooks, how you doing? We're just going to have to really do a whole lot of prayer. And I say this, the prayers of the righteous availeth much.
But is that what we need to be doing? Because Black folk been praying for hundreds of years.
And by the way, and that's why and think about it, Emily, though, think about it. We have sustained. We're still standing, even for those 500 years or whatever, 600 years, we're still standing. Now, I'm not saying just pray and just tear your knees up. I'm not talking about that, but I am saying that we're going to have some type of resolve, because what's coming up ain't nothing to play with. I mean, Alicia, and I know that you are definitely one of the spiritual sister. This he got 2 golden statues up, and I'm like, y'all, if folk ain't saying nothing, girl, Trump got 2. Like,
oh, really? Where is it? What?
Well, one of them is in Mar-a-Lago. I don't know where the other one is, but he got these golden statues up and told the man that was doing the statue, said, "Look here, I need for you to fix my turkey neck and lose some weight, child, on that. Make me kind of thin." And these evangelicals are running around here, and some of these Negro preachers running around here trying to tell you, "Oh, well, they ain't worshiping him." But I'm like, y'all need to be careful now, because this thing is out of control. And then on this same weekend now is when the Supreme Court knocked down the 14th Amendment, where now you got people going and redistricting and trying to block out Black folk. And here we are, we so stupid. Well, my vote don't count. If your vote don't count, and I say it again, why are people trying to dilute your vote? So, and then I could tell you, so many people marched and died for this. Yeah. I do genealogy. And the first thing that I find, even, and I found it in your tree too. As soon as they were able to register to vote in 1870, but usually it's 1867, they took and they signed that paper with an X so they could vote. That was the first thing they did. And I can find historical evidence for those that claim, that, Miss Williams, I know what I'm talking about.
Oh, wow. I'm looking at it now.
Oh, yeah, that's something serious.
Trump National Doral
golf course, got him standing up there with his fist in the air.
Oh, wow.
And to me, that's scary, because we're moving in a place that, I'm not going to worship anything. I ain't doing, not Brenda. But my point to you is, again, folk need to be aware of their whole surroundings and what that looks like. And, civil rights and things of this nature. DEI, as someone said, a lot of white women, benefited from DEI. Well, we know a lot of the laws and things that are going against women is not for brown women. It's not for Black women. It's for white women. That's why we got all those abortion things, going on. And we'll talk about that another time. It's not for Black babies. It's for white babies. They want to make sure these girls are having little, even dropping the age of consent for some of these little white girls so they can have babies and things like that. And I'm like, y'all just as crazy as you can be.
I got a question about abortion. It was something, a comment / question.
Okay.
So I was watching something online, and this guy had, he was to a Caucasian guy, Caucasian female. They were talking, and he had such a good point that actually made me ponder. The woman was, pro-life, and God is pro-life, and, God is against abortion, et cetera, right? And I said, And she quoted a scripture. I can't think of the scripture off the top of my head, but the guy replies and says, "Well, if God is pro-life and the baby is created by God in the womb and blah blah blah," he said, "Well, and God is all about life. Didn't He order all of the firstborn boys in Egypt to be killed?" And she just got dead silent, and she said, I have nothing else to say. I think I'm done here. And I said, and I had never thought about that. And I said, oh my God,
you have to, first of all, folk don't, here you go. I don't play with God, I don't play with that right there. But you need, folk, it's a whole lot of questions, just like you said, that I find in that's in the Bible. I just don't understand how you can say don't do this or don't do that to the babies when you won't even give them any food to eat. I mean, that bothers me. Or how you can take and lock up people and kill them. You know what I mean? Murder them and stuff like that. I don't know. It's contradictory to me. So there you go.
That's what I said. I was like, that's such a huge contradiction, but it kind of made me chuckle because I was like, it shut the woman all the way down because it was one of them things that made you stop and think like, oh yeah, I forgot he did order all the firstborn.
And that's why, and that's why that,
I mean, technically he didn't order it, but he allowed it to happen.
But let me just say, that's why, when you got the Old Testament, you got the New Testament.
Yeah.
And so that's why, I try to encourage people, you need to read that New Testament and read that first, the commandment of Jesus. They said, which one, love God with all your heart, soul, and mind, second, liking to love a neighbor, that one right there. And so I'm like, I don't know how you can love your neighbor as yourself when you're not really even trying to even help other people. That's what I don't understand it. I really don't. I don't understand us. I don't understand just life, period. Really. And maybe it's beyond my own, I guess the Bible said, lean not to your own understanding. So it's not for me to understand.
Yeah.
I came on today. I was like, I'm so hurt and so disgusted that I have to have that talk with Denver. With, be careful. Somebody make a monkey sound at you. You need to come and tell me. I don't care who it is. I got something for them. It's sad. You shouldn't even have to do that.
You're going to use your jujitsu arms?
Girl,
Or you going? No, you have to use your elbow.
I'm going to knock them out. And then not only that, encourage her to always know, which she does when we talk about things, that we have, we have people, brown people that are doing wonderful and awesome things. So I like for her to come over to your shop so that she can see you. I like for her, when she walked up and saw Chris Ellis, Dr. Ellis, because I said, I'm going to take you to see Dr. Ellis. She walked up to him. She said, oh, you don't look like Dr. Ellis. You don't look like a doctor. Yeah, because he was a black man. So you follow what I'm saying? And her doctor is a black man, Dr. Hutchins. Okay. So, and
Dr. Hutchins, I think he done been everybody doctor in Macon.
He has been. And then, her godfather, Dr. Conrad, Dr. Miller, in there, and her cousin. So it's just good to have, good to encourage your children and let them see great. You see, Jimmy is doing awesome. He's a great role model for children to see, so that they can be better, and that kind of thing. But I don't know what's going on with us as Black people, again, because it's like, I don't know, we got amnesia. It's like we don't really think that we're powerful. I really don't know. Or we listen to the hype.
And we don't believe in our own power. And it sounds so corny and so cliche, but we don't believe in our own power. And they keep us liquored up, drugged up, filled up with food, and distracted by music,
you better say it,
booty shaking and all of that. That is done on purpose, because as long as we can keep them inebriated with the alcohol and the drugs, we can keep them overweight, obese, unhealthy with the food, and we can keep them distracted with entertainment. That's how they're able to do. When I say they, that's how they're able to keep us under control. And it's sad. It's a sad reality. Like I said earlier at the beginning of the program, it's to see it firsthand. I sit back and I ask, like, how are they so good at manipulating us, and we don't know we're being manipulated?
Well, let me tell you something. When I did prevention, I don't know if I ever told you, I did prevention education for about 5 or 6 years. And I went to a class, and this guy used to work in marketing. And he said he had to get out. And I was like, why? Marketing sounds like a wonderful profession. And he said it's one of the most evil, darkest professions that you can be in. And he said, so I asked him why. And he said, well, the colors. We study all the colors to see which works with this sense and that sense, and which sound works with this and will work that. And so it's like they create a profile. I mean, like an electronic profile. And I bet you we could do it right now in AI and ask him to give me a profile that would attract a Black female age, whatever, 19 to 20 or whatever, and we want her to buy our mimosa. I'm just saying, putting it out there. It would tell us what we needed to do in order to get them to buy a mimosa. And I'm willing to bet you part of it is they made the audience think that they had bottomless mimosa so they could have as much as they wanted to drink. And knowing all the while they ain't gonna drink about 2 of them.
Right, exactly.
So yeah, you got to read that one out, Emily, because that's gonna be interesting. It should come up and pop up and tell you something.
I'm typing it in now just to say I have the paid for Chat GPT, so this the expensive one. I'm finna see what they say. Let's see. Okay, keep talking, Brenda, while I'm typing.
Okay, she trying. Look here, because y'all have to understand that Chat AI is something else. Now, I use Chat and to get information, and some of it is good and some of it is garbage, but it is what it is. And but I just know that with marketing, that's something that you have to think about it. Like, what's the difference between Bayer aspirin and an aspirin? Nothing, except the name is Bayer,
the brand, right?
Except the brand. So that's how they got us crazy with picking out things based on just on a simple message or something like that. So I was really interested in what he had to say about how they attract people in, especially with the sounds. I get in my listeners that are out there, people can manipulate you with the ching 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 of a slot machine. Have the lights going on and off and stuff like that. So absolutely, she's over there just working her magic over there. Her eyes are stretching, y'all can't see her, but her eye is stretching. Is it twitching too, Emily?
Wow.
Read it out.
Okay. Oh God, it's going to hold it. Okay. So it says, the key is this: don't market the drink, market the experience. I said, well, let me tell you what I asked him. I said, hey, I need the best marketing strategy for African-American women to get them to buy bottomless mimosa tickets. What should the marketing strategy be specifically for Black women? It said, the key is this: don't market the drink, market the experience. Black women love vibes, social status, and photo moments.
What?
For a bottomless mimosa event targeting Black women, especially millennial and Gen Z women, the highest performing strategy is usually girls' day out energy, luxury but fun aesthetics, strong social proof, emotionally relatable messaging, highly visual content, FOMO, and scarcity. You already have the perfect brand aesthetic for this with your glam pink gold sparkle vibe from the Naturalista. Here's the strategy I would use. The winning formula is to sell the feeling, not the mimosas. It's not about the mimosa. It's about the feeling. Soft life. Instead, do a soft life Saturday. Pretty girl brunch. Catch up with your girls over endless mimosas. Luxury vibes without flying to Atlanta. Good music, good drinks, good energy. Black women respond strongly to relaxation, celebration, sisterhood, community, luxury experience, escapism, aesthetics, and I deserve this. Black women love to spend money.
Say it again now.
Black women love to spend money. That emotional positioning matters way more than the alcohol itself.
Emotional positioning. That's a powerful thing right there.
And it's
Emily.
going on and on. It says, make the event look expensive. Black women love expensive things. Even if the tickets are affordable, visually make it look expensive. Gold accents, pinks, champagne tones, sparkles, flower walls, neon signs, upscale brunch visuals, beautiful Black women laughing together, DJ clips, boomerang cheers, rooftop lounge energy. Use the same energy, oversized sunglasses, heels and sneakers mix, cute dresses, soft life visuals, luxury but attainable vibe. This matters enormously, and most importantly, on Instagram and TikTok.
Oh, okay. We've got a caller. Let's see. Sheila Edwards.
Hello, caller.
Hello. How are you, caller?
Hi, this is Sheila Edwards, candidate for the Georgia Public Service Commission. How are you?
Well, I'm glad that you called Public Service Commission. We're doing great.
Good, good. Well, thank you for taking my call. I just wanted to call in and thank you for what you do for the community, your advocacy, and your providing a platform for people to know what's going on in the community. That's so invaluable, and I thank you for doing so, and thank you for taking my call.
Well, thank you.
Of course. Now, I want to know for our listeners, because they're good people out here, help them understand what is it that you're running for. Kind of give them an overview of what that is.
Okay. Well, as I said, I'm running for the Georgia Public Service Commission, and most people don't know what that is, the PSC. But if you open up your utility bills, you learn really quick what it is. It's that entity that's allowing Georgia Power and some of the EMCs to charge whatever rates they want to ratepayers. That's the entity that's allowing Georgia Power to pass on plant Vogel charges, data center charges, any charges that they like. It's approved by the PSC, and once it's approved, it ends up on your bill. And I'm running to become the third vote to join Dr. Alicia Johnson out of Savannah and Peter Hubbard out of Atlanta to become the third vote to stop the trajectory of those rate increases. I actually ran in 2022, won a Democratic primary, was on the ballot with Stacey Abrams, and they took our races off the ballot because of a legal challenge on how the commissioners were selected. They left the Republicans in place, sent us home, and 6 or 7 rate increases later, I'm back to finish the job I started in 2022. The other problem in 2022 is they disenfranchised all the voters that voted in the Democratic primary for PSC. Those people were yes, and their votes were officially just, disengaged. They had nothing that they could do relative to forcing that situation. And me and the other young lady that was running, we pleaded with somebody to step forward because this wasn't right, and no one did. So we accepted what the courts decided. We accepted what the Secretary of State's office decided, and we moved on. But the issues still remain. We still have utility rates that are outrageous, and it's not based on people's income. It's based on whatever Georgia Power wants to pass on to you. And you have people that are getting their powers turned off in the dead of winter or in the hottest days of the summer, and they have no recourse. And so we have to create a system that is actually working for the public and not against the public. And we have to create a situation that understands the plight of seniors, of veterans, of families with children who are struggling to try to figure out just how to keep a roof over their head. The seniors are trying to figure out whether to get their medication or pay the utility bills.
Well, that's just true.
That is so true. Yes, and with your community in South Georgia, rural Georgia, it's going to be very important that you all have a seat at the table. And when I become public service commissioner, I'm going to make sure your voices are heard, that information funnels and channels its way down to your communities, because I'm going to be there. I'm going to be visiting. I'm going to be talking with folks, and I'm going to be asking questions so that you guys can make me smart about your communities and what your needs are, so that I can bring that back to the Public Service Commission.
Oh, wow. That's powerful. Now, I want to make sure that everybody know your name. So
it is Sheila Edwards for PSC. My website is SHELIA for PSC.com.
Okay, well,
And
thank
I
you
invite
so much.
anyone to reach out to me. Excuse me?
No. Thank you for that, because you just shared some information that because I just want to be real clear. You shared some information that I didn't know, about what has happened to you in the past and such. So I'm definitely going to find you on the ballot and vote for you.
Well, I appreciate that. And it didn't just happen to me. It happened to you all as well. And, of all the things that the PSC does, I just recently found out that they gave a private railroad company permission to take the land away from a family in Sparta that had been in their families for over 100 years.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you're following that story, but they appealed that situation, and the Court of Appeals came back and said, they could do it. And that means your land is not your land until your land is your land until somebody else tells you they want it. And I think this family continues to fight this situation. But these are the poor decisions that are coming from the PSC, and they have to change. They have to be making decisions that are for people. A lot of folks are looking for alternative ways to get power, and they want solar. Well, Georgia has millions of people in the state, but they only create 5,000 slots for people to get solar. They don't mean for you to do anything else except pay them their high bills. They don't mean for you to be able to utilize other opportunities to generate utilities. Georgia Power is a monopoly in our state. There's nobody competing against them, so they can charge whatever they want to charge. And as long as the PSC rubber stamps it, they get away with it. And I can promise you, when I become the next member of the Public Service Commission, that's going to stop. I'm going to be looking for ways to help marginalized communities and Black and brown communities. I'm going to be looking for ways to make sure that we're not being gouged with these prices. And another thing that the communities are conscientious of is the onslaught of data centers. They're just popping up in our communities with no type of regulations, type of understanding of what their purposes are and the impacts to our bodies, to our health, to the environment. Nobody knows these things, and it's like an open door. They're all flooding Georgia right now, and you have a lot of communities putting in moratoriums to say, wait a second, we need to understand what this means to us and our constituents. And I'm not against data centers, but they shouldn't be next door to my house. They shouldn't be next door to the schools or the churches, because we don't know the ill effects of it. And unfortunately, when it comes to these types of things, they are notorious for putting them in our communities. So right now, you find a majority of the data centers south of I-20 in marginalized communities, in Black and brown communities, but you're not going to find them in Alpharetta or Buckhead or Sandy Springs or any of those places, because they know not to go there because those folks will not allow it. But they come to our communities and they set up shop, and they don't give anything back to our communities. We have a lot of things that are going on. We have a lot of problems with our youth. They can create some programs, create some structure for that. If you want to operate in our community, bring something to the table, and first and foremost, pay your own bills. You have them kicking women and children off of welfare, but they are quick to create corporate welfare to attract these companies into Georgia. But when it comes to a data center, they don't employ a lot of people. So you can't even treat that as an economic development opportunity, because it's only a handful of people that they utilize to work with data centers. So what are we doing? What decisions are we making? What decisions are your elected officials making on your behalf? That's the challenge that every voter should be asking. And if you look at my resume, you'll see that I've been working in the community for decades. I've been working with, people that care about our communities. John Lewis, David Scott.
All right.
I was David's first district director when he went to Congress. And his first thing to us as his employees was, you take care of my people. These are my people. These are not your people. These are mine. So if they call, you answer. If they need something, you get it done. And that's the mindset that I have going into the Public Service Commission. If you call me, I'm going to get you an answer. I'm not